I want to tell you something about the Apostle Paul in the Bible. Paul wrote at least 14 books of the New Testament of the Bible. I memorized most of them. The Apostle Paul was a different kind of individual, but he had the genealogical records to back it up. He had everything. So Jacob in the Bible was the grandson of Abraham, the father of the faith. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob wrestled with the angel, said, I will not let you go until you give me the blessing. And so God, the angel, put out his hip joint and he let him go, but he held to let him go. And so Jacob's name was changed to Israel by God, he who wrestles with God. Okay? So Israel was blessed of God and given 12 sons. One of the sons was named Judah. Judah, upon the time of his father Israel's death, Jacob's death, was going to be the kingly line which the Mashiach, the Messiah of Israel, would come from. And Jesus had that genealogical record to back it up. So who was Saul of Tarsus? Saul of Tarsus was of the children of Benjamin. Why was his name Saul? I'll tell you. His parents named him Saul because the first king of Israel was named Saul. And Saul was of the Jewish tribe of Benjamin. Now, if you understand all that, you will understand more about the spirit that was in Saul. He followed that family lineage spirit. So the first king of Israel was humble in his youth, and God acknowledged that. But later, the ego got to him. He became proud, and he started doing things of himself instead of obeying God. Saul was a prophet who prophesied amongst the prophets. Saul, the first king of Israel, had the Spirit of God. He prophesied with the prophets of God. But he turned. He turned on God and started becoming all about Saul. We got kingly presidency kind of people in this life that do the same thing. They're not humble. They're not humble for God. Saul, the first king of Israel, was in God's eyes humble as a child, but he changed. It's funny what power and money will do to you. But Saul, first king of Israel, got so bad that he was supposed to give a sacrifice. And to give that sacrifice, he had to wait for the prophet Samuel to come. Well, Saul didn't wait. Saul didn't wait. He feared the people because the people were waiting on the prophet too. They want to give this sacrifice. the man of God is delayed or taking his time or whatever. So Saul, for the people's sake, gave the sacrifice without the prophet. Now, I know a lot of you wouldn't understand this, and maybe some of you would, but God worked as a theocracy. Krasi meaning rule, and theo means God. He worked from his rulership, and he did it through the prophets. But now that he had a king, people looked to the king instead of to God, who spoke through the prophets. And this king was being pressured by the people to give the sacrifice untimely. And for the people's sake, Saul bowed out on God and gave the sacrifice. When the prophet came, he told Saul, "You have not obeyed the voice of the Lord." He told Saul, obedience is better than sacrifice, and to hearken, to hear and obey, better than the fat of rams, these sacrifices that God required. Obeying God comes first, and you didn't do it. He was supposed to wait for that prophet to come and give that sacrifice. So King Saul grabbed the mantle of the prophet and pulled it, and it ripped, it rent. And the prophet of God says, God, and you weren't supposed to rend the garment of a prophet or a priest. He tore it. And he said, God has rent. He's ripped out of your hands. God has rent from you the kingdom of Israel. And God will give a king better than you, a man better than you to rule over Israel. Well, of course, Saul didn't like that. And so when the prophet was sent to the house of Jesse to anoint a new king of Israel, Saul didn't like that. And David was anointed by the prophet Samuel to be the second king of Israel. And Saul and David had a time because Saul chased after David to kill him, to eliminate him. It got so bad that he went to a sanctuary city, and I forgot the names, but you can look this up. You can get off your laziness and learn something by looking for it yourself. And Google's a great tool. I had manuals, thick manuals, I had to learn all this from, okay? And the Bible. So all you got to do is type a little Google stuff and you get your answers. But there was a sanctuary city, and the sanctuary cities were of the priests, the Levites of Israel. And the reason for a sanctuary city was, and it says in the laws of Moses, if two men are working in a field and one takes an axe and he's striking something and the axe head comes off and hits another man by accident and kills him, that the avenger of blood would come after him. That means the family would send out a contract on this guy that killed that family member. But God created sanctuary cities where the priest would take a person like that in. And then the priests, who were the judges in Israel, that's right, priests were judges of the laws of Moses. The man would run for his life, go to the sanctuary city, and live amongst the priests until whatsoever time the priest could try that man and find out, did you kill that man, or did that axe handle break and that axe head fall off and kill him. Okay, was it an accident or was it premeditated? If they found that the man had willfully killed this person, then the priest would judge him and either put him out of the city for the avenger of blood, the family, to come after him, or they would take and try him and have him stoned to death at the gates of the city. That's just how the laws are. And don't believe me, go look this up in the Bible for yourself, please, because you have to give an account for your knowledge of God. And if you got no knowledge of God, shame on you. So this is all in the Bible in the Old Testament. And if you read this about the laws of Moses and how they tried people and stuff, you'll ascertain more information that you need. So with this, King Saul went after the new king anointed to be king, but in man's eyes, it was not official yet. So he was trying to kill David because Saul was rejected as king of Israel. So Saul's seeking him out with several men with him, come and try and kill David. David takes flight, and David is hiding from the face of Saul and from his wrath. And he wants no other king. He wants to remain king of Israel. So they went to a sanctuary city, David did, and it was the same city that stored the sword of the giant named Goliath, who David previously had killed. And David went to that sanctuary city and stayed there. But then he heard Saul was coming and he left. King Saul went to that city, found that sword there, and said, "You're harboring David." "Oh, no, he's not. You're harboring, I know you are." So what he did was he ordered a man, I forgot his name. He was a Gentile. He wasn't a Jew. I think it was Oleg, but I'm probably wrong, okay? Go look it up. But he told that man to go in and kill the priests of God. That Gentile went in and slew, I don't know how many, the Bible says, but slew all the priests of God at that sanctuary city. Killed them all. Because Saul wanted to kill David. The spirit of Saul was wicked. The Bible even said that demons had previously come upon Saul, and David would play an instrument called a lyre. Okay, he wasn't a liar. It's an instrument, musical instrument. And David would play that lyre for King Saul, and the demon spirits would go away. He would be relieved from his mental torment. But Saul still wanted to kill David. So when David was on flight, Saul's looking for him. He had that wicked man, I think his name's Oleg, I forget, go look it up, killed all the priests at that sanctuary city where the sword of Goliath had been kept by the priests. Saul of Tarsus was born of the same family lineage, the tribe of Benjamin. He was named Saul by his mother and father in honor of the first king of Israel, Saul. And that Saul of Tarsus, religious Pharisee that he was raised up to be, thought Jesus, the only begotten Son of God, to be a false prophet. And he went around killing all believers that believed in Jesus. Saul of Tarsus had the spirit of Saul, the first king of Israel, who became a wicked man. And Saul killed Christians all over with papers given to him by the Sanhedrin of the Jews, the Council of Judges at Jerusalem. He had orders of the police. I got a warrant for your arrest, and I'm going to have you killed because you say Jesus is the Messiah. That's who Saul of Tarsus was. And on the road to Damascus, a light came from heaven, knocked him to the ground. Doesn't say he was on a horse or a camel. It just says knocked him to the ground. And Saul looked up to heaven and said, no, the voice came from heaven with the light, said, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And Saul of Tarsus, under that blinding light, said, who is it, Lord, that I persecute? And the voice answered from heaven, I am Jesus, whom thou persecute. Or Yeshua in the Hebrew, but God's salvation, whom you persecute. Well, Saul repented. Saul had to be prayed for by a man of God named, a disciple of the Lord, an apostle of the Lord named Ananias. And Ananias didn't want to get around Saul of Tarsus. No, Lord, he'll kill me. I'm not going to go. Paul now prays. He's converted to me. You pray for him that he can receive his eyesight. That light blinded him. That he can receive his eyesight. And I'm going to show him the things he must suffer for my name's sake. And let me tell you, Saul of Tarsus suffered as the Apostle Paul. He suffered. Beaten of rods 5 times, stoned and left for dead twice, a night and a day in the ocean, in the deep. He suffered a lot, and he testified of it. So I just wanted to give you that information about who Saul of Tarsus was in the Bible and how he got converted by Jesus meeting him on the road to Damascus. God bless you. Good night.